Okay, now that we have all of the parts of our scene in place, I'd like to make a few subtle tweaks to some of the proportions to better balance things out. So these rungs I feel are just a little bit too fat for my liking, and I'd like to adjust the height of these posts a little bit as well. So I'm going to start out with that. I'm going to select all 4 of the posts, and then we're going to adjust their length. S to scale, and we're just going to constrain that to the Z axis, and I'm going to move that down a little bit, so around about there. Looks good. I think I'm also going to select these 2 parts, also scale them in Z a little bit, so not quite so tall. That will do. I think this platform here I might actually move down slightly, so G to grab it, Z. Let's move that down just a little bit here, which means we're going to have to adjust this slide in a minute. Now I'm going to select all of these rungs here. Now what you'll find, if I try to scale these objects, they will all scale in around a single central point. Now that's not what we are after. We would like to scale each of them individually around their own centers. So I'm going to right click to cancel that action, and you can see this little icon up at the top here. If we click on that, you'll see that the currently selected mode is median point, so it's going to select around a central point. If we click on this individual origins option, when we hit S to scale, it will now scale around each of the individual origins. So we're just going to scale these down ever so slightly. We don't want them to get too short so they're not intersecting the posts, but that looks okay. Let's just zoom in a little bit so we can see they're now still intersecting the posts, but they're just a little bit narrower, which is what I was after. So I think we should also move some of these rungs a little bit. So I'm going to grab that, move it on the Z axis down a little bit to there. I'm going to move this up a little bit so they're fairly evenly spaced, and I'm happy with that. Obviously our slide is now in the wrong place as well, so we're going to have to make some adjustments to that. So I'm going to hit 3 to jump into the side view. We know we're going to have to shorten this a little bit, but if you remember earlier, if we try to scale this, we need to make sure that we change our orientation for our transform to the local axis so that we can adjust its length a little bit. So I can now hit S and Y, and I should be able to scale along its length a little. Click to confirm, and then hit my G key, and I should be able to move that roughly into place. Click to confirm. I'm just going to orbit around, see how that's fitting. Okay. We're still sticking up a little bit at the top here, so we're going to just hit S and Y again, just shorten it a little bit more. Okay. G key, Y, and we're in local mode, so I actually want to cancel that. I want to move this in global mode. So G and Y, we can nudge this back a little bit. And now I'm going to hit my 3 key to go to the side view just to check how high we are. I think we can nudge that just down slightly, so G and Z. And that should do us. Slightly too far. G, Z. Just check that in the side view again. That's very good. Okay. And finally, this crossbar here as well, I think is just a little bit too fat. So I'm just going to S to scale, scale it down a little bit globally, and then S and Y to scale that out until it intersects. There we are. And I'm happier now with the overall proportions of the scene. Control S to save.